Dr. Grady, you mentioned dinosaur nests and some of these more delicately preserved things. And so this is a common criticism that comes up. I've got the question on screen. How can such a catastrophic worldwide flood preserve things such as dinosaur egg nests, the foot tracks that we find, and raindrops?
Well, the obvious answer is, and I would say basically, understanding the truth of creation. But again, why are these things preserved? Again, raindrops, and I absolutely agree there are raindrops that have been preserved. But why? Well, it's really quite simple. Again, in the rising tides of a 150-year or 150-day flood, excuse me. But as the waters rise for 150 days, creatures are trying to survive. They're trying to go to higher ground. And what's going to happen? Well, the tide causes wet mud to be deposited. Then these creatures are trying to survive. And so when the tide goes down, they're trying to run wherever they can or walk wherever they can, survive. And the pregnant dinosaurs, of course, there's never been a condition like this. They have a very small brain. They're reptiles. They have a very small brain. They don't know what to do, but they know they're pregnant. They know they're supposed to build a nest and they're supposed to lay eggs. And we have even found, of course, the one very famous nest of a mother dying on top of her nest, trying to protect it from the rising water. It's a very interesting fossil. But in the chaotic condition of the flood, they are laying eggs because they have to. They're biologically, they're going to. And they're going to try to build nests. And of course, tides vary with the position of the sun and the moon, so that you get higher tides and lower tides, but you're going to get a consistent rising of the water for 150 days. And so during all that time, the dinosaurs are walking in mud, but immediately covered by water with mud and preserved. That's all that's required. I would point out, we have coal mines, for instance, the Kettle coal mine in Tennessee, where you find dinosaur footprints on the top of the coal layer, which means that they were walking on vegetative material where it was being covered with wet mud, and the footprints were preserved as they were walking on the wet wood materials or wet plant materials, and then covered with mud immediately and preserved as fossil footprints. So again, all of this is consistent with a worldwide flood, but it is totally inconsistent with the evolution process. I have some very interesting pictures taken down in South America, where we have entire wall, and I'm talking about like the face of a cliff, very big, where the wall is not 90 degrees, but it's at a very high level of tilt, but the wall is covered with dinosaur footprints. Now, how did that happen? Well, that had to be down flat, and the footprints occurred, and were covered with wet mud, preserved and hardened. And then that entire slab had to be block faulted by the tilting process, which would be consistent with the folding of wet mud layers because of tectonic movement of continents during the flood.
You made so many good points there. One specifically, we often find the fossilized foot tracks of specific creatures before we find the creatures themselves, which confirms what you're saying, that these creatures are running from the flood, basically trying to find higher ground.